today. Our guest, Lemar Wilson, he is in sunny Florida. Well, it looks pretty sunny to me. And so we have him in here with us today. Him and I connected on social media. We kind of just been supporting each other from afar. And I wanted to have the opportunity to get him on here, share his story around grief and loss and just some motivation. That's what he likes to do. So I'm sure that'll be good. Lemar, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me. Yeah. I remember when we connected on social media, and I was just like, man, this is just super dope. I think this is definitely something unique that I always wanted to be a part of. But being that I live in Florida and you out there and up north, I'm like, man, I got to figure out a way. But this coronavirus is like, I'm gonna change that plan.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I actually wasn't doing too many remote interviews. I had a few, but again, with COVID, everything's changed. All my interviews are either solo rounds by myself or interview like how we're doing right now
Right.
remotely. So it has worked out. It was just perfect timing. And
Right.
yeah, we kind of can get into it. So I know you're originally from New York, though, right?
Yeah, I'm from Queens, Astoria, and I moved out here in 2015 after just really after my mom passed. I really just went in a slump, and I got the opportunity to come out and to Florida on a job interview, and they loved me. I packed up everything in a red. I had uh this red Jeep, and I mean this thing was dragging on the floor, but God got me down here, and I haven't looked back since then.
That's awesome. Well, it's not awesome that the reason why you left, it's just that you were
Right.
able to get another opportunity and get into some new things for you, and new chapters. So let's get into that. To your
Yeah.
comfort level. I know unfortunately your mother passed away, and I'm sure you've probably had some other losses along the journey, but we definitely want to get into that today. So just kind of walk us into that experience. How long has it been and just what that's been like for you?
Um, she passed away in 2014, and and when no, I'm sorry, 2011. Sorry, but it was it was heartbreaking because before she passed, I watched her go through a lot with diabetes. I watched her, nights waking up and her sugar's low. Her feet. She scratched her feet and she's using as all these different lotions to keep it. I watched her just suffer and suffer, and the only thing that I realized to make her happy was just like music and being able to just like she knew that she didn't have that much longer. She knew that there was some things was gonna happen, and to her, she was just like, you know what, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write a book. I wrote, and Lamar, go get me a notebook, and she wrote 4 books, and she never got them published. I have the books, so that's my goal. But I remember getting that call that night. It was on a Saturday, and they told me that she was in the hospital, and I was in Manhattan. And I mean, I tell you, God God is so amazing because I don't think I stopped at a red light that night because I went from Manhattan all the way to Queens, and it was just green lights all the way, boom. And I got to the hospital, and it wasn't just the diabetes because my mom had brain cancer, and she just never told me. She never told me. And I mean, I didn't grow up with a father. I watched my father sit on a bench with needles in his arms. I watched him. There's a time where I asked my father for a dollar, and my father was so high, he didn't even know who I was. And and when I got home and I realized how important my mom was, and from that moment, that's what I just realized that like my mom is all I have. So when people say, "Oh, you're a mama's boy," like, no, you don't understand what my mom stepped up to be. You know, and when I see my mom just laying in that bed and the doctor saying like, listen, we have to unplug her, like the brain is gone. but I could still feel my mom shaking my hand as I hold her hand, and I'm talking to her and I'm crying, but I could feel her saying like, Lamar, like, don't cry. Like I didn't raise you wrong. I didn't I did a great job because you're a man. You're not a boy no more. You went out, you got your own apartment, then you went out and went and bought your first house. Like I experienced that. You're a father, you're a good man, you have a good spirit. And I always growing up, I always want to know, why do I have to be the bigger person? Why do I always have to say sorry? Why do I have to cave in? But my mom always said, because you are special and it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't take nothing from you to be the bigger person. And I realize that now that she's gone all these years is because doing that made me realize that life is too short to let stuff like that hold you.
What did you not want to be the bigger person about when you were saying like you didn't understand? She said you had a good spirit, and what didn't you want to be the bigger person about?
It was just because I grew up with sisters. So the thing was, it's like my sister get on my nerves, or she did this, or I hit her, and she did that, and my mom was teaching me how to be a man around women. My mom was teaching me to how to be a man around men that I had three brothers, three sisters. And I mean, I'm the baby boy. So I was getting on people's nerves and people were getting on my nerves, but she was teaching me that, Lamar, you can don't let this distract you from what you should be doing. Try to, like, just be, you know what, Lamar, just let it go. But Ma, he hit me. Let it go. Let it go. Ma, why you always taking her side? Her side? Let me tell you something. Because there's gonna be things that life is unfair. It's not always gonna go your way. And if I don't tell you now, you're never gonna understand it. And that's what got me where I could sit here today and say, it's very rare that I really get mad about things. I may get discomfort, but my mom raised me to understand life is too short to be sick. Wake up mad, go to sleep mad, talk to people mad. The great thing that I always find crazy is that people get mad inside the house, but outside the house they're the happiest person. Why can't that energy be reflected inside the house? And that's what my mom taught me growing up. So
Yeah,
I
seems like your mom taught you a lot of great things, and she was a great leader and a great person in your life. How did it make you feel when you didn't know that she had brain cancer? Like, do you feel like it mattered to the ending, or did it not really matter?
it to me it mattered because I felt like I didn't have enough time to try to just find out information, find out doctors. Like when I found out she had diabetes, it hurt me because I felt like, so before I knew the diabetes was there, like I was out there doing stupid stuff. I'm gonna be honest, I was out there selling drugs,
Mhm.
and I remember my mom coming home. I was sitting in the kitchen, and she came home scratching her feet, and she came from the doctor, and and it, and she said, sat me down and told me I have diabetes. I didn't know what diabetes was. I mean, I'm a kid. I'm out there trying to chase Jordans.
Right.
Yeah, I was being stupid. I was doing stupid stuff for Jordans, and but it hit me when she told me about what diabetes was. Like she basically at that time she said, "You're an apple, Lamar." And what happens when an apple is not in? Like it just sits out. And that's I can't I could tell you, it's like she just told me that 5 minutes ago. Like it rottens, and that's what I'm doing right now, Lamar. And when she told me that, I started. I this is how powerful a relationship with a son and a mother is. I literally put all the stuff that I had in the bag. My back in the days, think I was a Nino Brown. Put all the stuff back in the bag, and I gave it away.
Wow.
I went and got a job. My first job was at Burger King. And then my friend called me and told me there was a job at Macy's. I spent 10 years with Macy's because I didn't want my mom to come and get me from jail. She's already dealing with enough. I can't be that selfish. And knowing that she had diabetes, I study. I try to figure out what's diabetes. What can we do? What's some stuff so she don't have to pluck her finger? What kind of candy? What's something? And I seen her out of all her kids. I was just the one person that was just like, I need to make sure she stays alive enough that she can see her grandkids. She gets old and she died on God's time. And to me, that's what hurts the most because I know that's the way he wanted. But in my mind, I think that people should be 100 years old, and die. But
Oh, I
that's
agree
what.
with that. I agree with that too. I wish that we could all be 100 years old. Some parts of me that I'm like, being 100, like that's for me almost 70 more years. I don't know if I can, how it
Yeah.
would be, but a couple said a lot of great things there, and I was trying to keep mental notes of what I wanted to elaborate on. Do you think that once your mom told you that she was diabetic, like when do you think the grieving process started? Because if I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, if I'm a person and my parent tells me that they're sort of like an apple or fruit that's rotting, I wonder if that set anything in your mind to start thinking about life without your mother, or was your optimism in the way so that you couldn't even think of her not being here? You're more so were just being optimistic.
No, it started immediately as soon as she told me because I realized I never talked to God. I mean, of course, I was, I went to church at times and stuff, but I'm gonna be honest. But I started praying. But when I would pray to God that please, like my first words to God was, please don't let my mom die. Every night, please don't let my mom die because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know where I'm gonna live. I have brothers. I grew up in a drug dealer house. Like that, my brothers were drug dealers. I slept under guns in the bed. At one point, there was one point where we were so poor, I would sleep on crates. Like there was 6 crates, two in the front, two in the middle, two in the back, and my mattress. That's how poor we were. So I couldn't dealing with my mom knowing like this apple's rotten every day, but then it's like I don't know where I'm gonna go. I don't know how to buy a house. I mean, an apartment and clothes and food, and my little sisters are here. Like it scared me so much. I didn't have no guidance, and every day I just kept trying to figure out what's gonna happen if my mom passes away. What I'm gonna do. I need to start making some better decisions. I can't keep chasing Jordans. I can't keep trying to run around with girls. I can't keep hanging out with my friends. What I'm gonna do? And it scared me every day. Every day it just kept getting to me. But as I as I thought about the more and more that it scared me, the more and more that I started growing up and I started getting up, going to work on time, going to school, getting my education. It's still learning, like with my mom. My mom would say to her friends, I I don't she never told them why, but she always said like Lamar doesn't let me lift a finger because I don't know how long I got her for.
Mhm.
And that's the scary part. I would go to the doctors and I would pull the doctors to the side and ask them like, do people live? And they're like, yeah, people live with this, and they live a long time. So stop worrying yourself. But I'm 16, 17 years old. I'm thinking I'm gonna be a person with no mother. This person got his mother. She got her mother. Why my mother? But I never hated God. I never hated God. But I just was so I could. Okay. Let's be honest. I At that time I was more embarrassed of not having my mom versus having friends that didn't have their mom when they were little.
Wow. So
So I was
even
like,
before your mom passed, it seems like you definitely went through a lot of things that come up in grief. I mean, just first of all, the fear, and then also just like that panic, but also imagining, like feeling embarrassed about something that didn't happen yet. So I
right,
wonder what was that like on the other side? So you get the call, you driving from Manhattan, you get there, all green lights, all praise
right,
to
right.
God, all the green lights. You get there, that moment happens, your mom is no longer alive. On the other side of that, was it anything like all of those premonitions that you had, all the fear, all of those things that you built up leading up to that? Was that similar or was it totally different?
N- It was, I want to say, as I was driving, because I can remember it. I remember it like it just happened. It was similar, but I accepted it because God, all that fear that I had growing up, I didn't get my first apartment until I was 26. God would say, I'm going to keep her on this earth until I know you can stand up. I will give you that. I'm going to give you what you asked for because you're praying to me and you asked me, and I'm a God that delivers. And He gave me that. And I tell you this is the first time I ever opened up about my mom, ever. Um, and that's why I love this. I love this here. Driving and getting there, and I see my brothers and my sisters, and there was anger because they know that we're losing our mom. And prior to that conversation, that my mom called me, but I was an hour away. My mom called me. She said, "I don't feel good. Like, can you drive me to the hospital?" And I couldn't. I really did not have a way to get over there. And I said, "I can't, Mom. Sorry. Like, I really can't get there." And I remember my brother. This is a true story. I remember my brother coming to me, and I know it was out of anger because he apologized later, but he told me, "You're the reason why Mommy's dead," and that killed me. That killed me. So for all those years that I asked God to just please keep her alive, like just help me. I don't know how to be a man. I don't have male figures in my life to show me that side. They could show me how to sell drugs. They could show me that easy. But my mom showed me how to be a man, and she watched me go from a person that sagged his jeans and long shirts to a person that picked up his jeans and had his actual size shirt. But getting there and seeing and hearing that from my brother saying that I'm the reason why mommy's dead because I didn't take her to the hospital. That killed me. So everything that I felt, it's like this is my fault. This is my fault. And and get couple years later, my brother sat me down and told me like that was just out of anger. But I always ask myself, what if I did take her to the hospital? Would she still be alive right now? And I talked to the creator about that. He said, son, I got you to a point where you have to stand on your own. I need her to do stuff. She don't have to suffer no more. And I watched her suffer. And with the brain cancer, it killed me because she wanted to keep everything silent because she already knew the diabetes, she couldn't hide it. And so that's what got me where driving there, I knew, all right, it's time. This day is coming. It's time. I'm going. But mentally, I was prepared. But internally, with my heart, I wasn't
Yeah.
because I had to face facts.
What do you still carry with you today as far as from that loss and the experience? Like, it seems like you have a great relationship with our higher power and you are a God-fearing man. And I know that not just from our conversation today, just from being connected with you. But what do you carry with you today that still is in that middle ground of maybe not so much forgiveness or acceptance, or maybe your answer is nothing. Maybe you feel free.
I I carry. I really carry a lot of the memories. I carry the conversation sent on on the washer, but I carry a lot of happiness with her. I always say everything that I got in this world is based off that situation, that time she came home with diabetes. Like that was the start of Lamar's life. It was either you sit there and cry or you get up and you do something. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had to do the opposite of what I was doing. And my mom, when that situation happened, what stoned in my head to this day, just talking about it, is when I kept holding her hand, and I know she heard me because she was shaking my hand every time I talked, and I can, and to this day I can still feel her shaking my hand, and I know, and I was talking to her, telling her, "Ma, I love you, like thank you for always protecting me." You know, out of four boys, you got one right. You got one of them right. But it always, every day, I think about the that moment that we were there and I was holding her hand. But then I think about all the conversations of how to, ma, I don't know how to be a husband. There ain't no book on this. I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do here? And my mom just always had a solution. You know, she always had the solution. She's like, listen, I don't know if this is the answer, but this is what I think. You
Right.
know, so,
No,
but
that's definitely, a beautiful thing, and I think you share so much, and I don't even know if I have to ask you to say what would you say to someone in a similar position, because I mean I will maybe, but I feel like you've given so much light just in your vulnerability in itself, and the fact that you haven't talked about this, I can't tell.
yeah,
You seem very comfortable, or maybe like you said before, as far as God's timing, sometimes it's just time. It is time
right.
to have that opportunity, and I'm thankful that you felt comfortable to come on, here and share your story with our audience. But you have shared so much light. I want to ask you, and I ask all my guests this, and if you've
Hmm.
heard the podcast, and you might be
Hmm.
aware, if you had to choose a color for your grief, what would it be and why?
It would be blue because my mom's favorite color is blue. They have a day in Queens on May 21st in the schools that I grew up at in Queens. It's Lamar's Day. Everybody always says, "Why you pick that day?" That's the day my mom was born.
Mm.
So everything I do is blue, and it always reminds me of her. Like that. I mean, it's just she molded me to be the person I am, and to get my associates, my bachelor's, and for her, I'm still pushing. I'm still trying to impress her. You know, to this day, I step back. I thank the creator, but I always say thank you, mom. I always tell her that. When I pray to God now, I always tell her, dear God, dear mom, because I know she's standing right next to him,
Mhm.
and she's protecting me because I could have got into a car accident recently at a drive-through, and I saw the car coming around, and just so happens this is a drive-through. It's tight. The car swerved around, and I realized, I said, my mom was right. My mom was behind that car. She's like, "You're not gonna hit my baby,"
Yeah, that's
you
beautiful.
know.
Yeah, the other thing too to that is that, and it's just could be me being overly deep or whatever, but for your first time talking about this, and you are on a podcast that my entire colors are blue.
Blue,
Every
right, right,
everything
right,
that has to
right.
do with the Griefbully is blue, and so I was like, "You know what?
Yeah,
That actually
yeah.
worked out," and, I definitely appreciate you being here, and we have a part of our show that's very important to me. It's our In Love and Memory segment, and it's where we take time to humanize and just talk about the life or just share their name in love and memory to someone that has gone on, and, we wanna make sure that we have the opportunity, so I'll just give you a second here. I sometimes say it, but
Mhm.
because I'm so proud of you, and I
Thank
want to
you.
give you as much time to talk about your mother. You can just say in love and memory to your mother and her name, and maybe something that you want to say to her.
Yeah, in loving memory of Shirley Wilson, my mom. This is Charlie Brown. She used to call me Charlie Brown. Calm down, Charlie Brown. And I just want to say that I love you. I think about you every day. I think about you every time I make a decision. I add you and God to all my decisions, everything that I do. I just want to continue making you proud. I want to continue to be a great son, a great brother, a great uncle, a great husband, a great father. I look at Aiden, my oldest son, and I remember the conversation of us having on the phone, and you saying that, I asked you, Ma, I don't know how to be a father. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And she said, just do the opposite of what your father did. And from that point on, that's what I just live by. So I just thank her, and I know she's with me every day. She's with me right now while we're on this podcast, and she's just like, "That's my son. That's my son. Look, a little Charlie Brown." And
He's all
and
grown up now,
it
doing
all
crazy
grown up,
things
you
in the
know.
world.
Um, and and just thank you for everything. And I just always want to make sure that I'm doing what you wanted all your sons to do, even though you always say I got one right. Out of the four, I got one of them right. And just I love you.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I'm definitely proud of you, and I'm extremely thankful for you to be on the show. And so before we head out, I do want to talk about our inspirational boost, which is a part of our show where we just give a quote or something that pertains to what we're talking about. And that's sponsored by Adina J Designs. They make, create, and inspire us to decorate apparel, custom tumblers, custom doormats. They're doing a lot of great things. Follow them on Instagram at Adina J Designs, ADENA JAYDESIGNS. And this quote actually is going to be a J.Nicole quote, but is speak your mind to protect your heart. And the reason why I chose that actually is because just listening to you talk and just seeing how beautiful, and guys, you when you see the video, you'll understand, but there's so much sunlight behind you, and I just feel just an overwhelming joy.
Yeah.
I feel a joy, and I feel like when we can speak and we can use our voice, we're protecting our heart in so many ways, even if it's just not so much to say, hey, for people not to speak to you a certain way or do things in your life, but to just give yourself more opportunity to have your heart live free. And so I feel that that was very timely right there. I want to give people the opportunity to follow you on social media as well, because you're always having your videos, you got your YouTube, you got your text message going on. So how
Yeah.
can people follow you before we get out of
Uh,
here?
yeah. On Instagram, I am Lemar Wilson. That's Lemar Wilson. And that's on Twitter as well. I finally got Facebook because I was getting some death threats. I need to have a Facebook. I was like, okay. Um, Other than that, I'm on YouTube. Just Lemar Wilson. That's LemarWilson. Other than that, guys, I'm mainly on YouTube and Instagram. Just trying to spread motivation and inspiration to people, and just tell my side of the story and know that somebody behind me is dealing with the same thing.
No, absolutely, man. It's been an awesome, awesome episode. I'll make sure I drop that in our show notes. I also will be posting and tagging you in some things coming up in the coming week or so. It has been great. Thank you so much, King. I
Yes,
appreciate it. I'm glad we've been able to build. Guys, you already know I'm your host, J.Nicole. I want you to follow me. I love hanging out on Instagram. I'm posting constantly at I_am_J_Nicole. Till next time, guys, you already know. Love and light. Peace.